Okay, so this is the 10 minutes speaking. Let's start it. So, what advice do you have for college graduate? Certainly, I do not want to apply for a job at Solar City or Tesla or SpaceX. And if not, then if that doesn't work for whatever reason, then apply to jobs that offer companies in that arena or just starting company. If you study engineering and you figure out how to design new things, it's relatively easy to start a company. um, you need to get a few like many people with you, or I said that the best business is quite hard to start a company in spec business because it's so capital intensive business. So it's maybe better to do something in solar power, or if you're already using cars, just in a kind of component supplier for cars or something like that. Must have correct degrees in business and physics, but SpaceX is first venture in aerospace. How do you get a SpaceX to be chief technology officer of a rocket ship company? Well, I do have a physics background. That's very helpful as a motivation. And then I read the books and talk to a lot of smart people, not just follow the change. You may have heard me first say it's a good thing to thermophysics approach of first principles. Which is rather than reasoning by analogy, even the things that are most fundamental structures you can imagine and you reason up from there. And it's a good way to figure out if something really makes sense or if just whatever what everybody else doing. And it's hard to think that way. You can't think that way about everything. It takes a lot of effort. But trying to do something is new is the best way to think. A framework has developed by physicists to figure out quantitative things like quantum mechanics. So it's really a powerful method. Um, and I want to know what is the one thing that has brought about your you has brought you about your life. Well, actually, it's brought about the whole thing. Honestly, it's a little bit to be for any of these things to happen. Honestly, um, yeah, I just I wouldn't want to be involved in technology. And As in fact, the reason why I started the company back in '95, and it's in the company was because I didn't get a job, and when I only free to the companies, I not get a job at any of them. So I took a job at Escapes, and I sent my resume. I just hang out in the lobby, but it was too shy to talk to anyone. And it was like, okay, well, I guess it happens to start a company because I get a job anywhere. Thank you. I would say I'm fearless. In fact, I think I feel quite strongly. But if the if what I'm doing isn't important enough, then I just override the fear. So it's not like I thought I don't fear. I feel fear like more stronger than we like. I think also people tend to avoid risk on personal level. It's one thing you don't know, a mortgage to pay and kid to support, and that you need to deviate from your job. That's well, and how are you going to feed your family and pay the rent? Okay, that's understandable. But let you say you are young and you're just coming out of college or coming out of high school or whatever. What do you risk? You're not gonna starve. I mean, it's really certainly not in any kind of modern economy. It's so easy to earn enough money just to live and where I need food. I don't know what the people what they are afraid of, and most of them fear of failure. I think people should be less risk averse than there's not much as risk at risk. What is education like? Well, basically downloading data and algorithm into your brain, and Especially amazingly bad in conventional education. It seems like be like this huge chart, like the more you can gamify the process of learning, the better. Also, sort of like external quizzes because we're trying to figure out what does it all mean, like what is the purpose of things, and come to a conclusion that if we can advance the knowledge of the world, we can do things that expand the scope and the scales of consciousness. And then we're better able to ask the right questions and become more engaged. And this it really only way forward. What drives you? What is it when you wake up in the morning to see a problem and you want to solve it? Um, the things that drives me is that I want to be able to think about the future and feel good about that. So that we're doing what we can to have the future be as good as possible, be as good as possible to be inspired by what's likely to happen, um, and to look forward to the next day. Um, so that uh, that what really drives me is trying to figure out how do we make sure that we're thinking right. I'm gonna be so, and that's the aligned principle behind Tesla and SpaceX. And that's that I think it's pretty important that we accelerate the transitions to sustainable generation and consumption of energy. But it may be inevitable, but it matters if it happens sooner or later. And then and SpaceX is about helping make life multi-planetary, um, and doing what we can to continue the dream of Apollo, and ultimately make contribution to life becoming multi-planetary. Let's talk about a little bit more that I think everyone is very interested that when you making life multi-planetary, yeah, that's exciting. It is exciting. Ask what your vision there. And I think particularly for Americans, and I think if you think about it, America is a nation as explorers. People came here from other parts of the world. They know did choose to give up the norm in favor of the unknown. So I think exploration, the United States is a distillation of human spirit of exploration, exploration, exploration. So why appeals to Americans so much. You know, you can see this when there's a sort of tragedy and several people died, and that's terrible. But a lot of people die all the time. But why do we care so much? Because it was a dream of exploration. They were dying along with those people. That's why. I mean, talk about what Tesla and SpaceX would fail at the beginning. You thought? Yeah, sure. Really? Of course. But let's put all the money in them. I expected to lose it, and well, technically, what I thought was after half a million for PayPal, and if I lose half of it, that's okay. Um, but then, of course, the companies encountered difficulties, and then I have a choice of either like let the company die, or put on the money into the companies, and so I really don't want to be die. So I put all the money in the companies, yeah, and then have to borrow money from friends to pay living expenses, yeah. You're just looking for evidence of exceptional ability, and if they are track record of exceptional achievement, definitely that will continue into the future. First, it depends on the stakes. It is like a hack. If it's really important, then one should then overcome the fear and just do it anyway. Um, And exactly, I mean, I just write overrides fear, but I feel the fear. It's kind of annoying. I wish I didn't. I wish I felt it less. Alright, so that's the wisdom and speaking for today. Okay, so this is the end of this time speaking for today. Have a really good day, guys. Cheers.